Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Federal High Court in Abuja sentences former governor of Taraba State, Gov Nyame, to 14 years in prison over 1.64 billion naira fraud. EFCC detains former Kaduna State Governor Ramalan Yaro and 3 others over alleged money laundering, criminal conspiracy and misappropriation of public funds. Embattled Kogi West Senator Dino Melaye resumes plenary, demands to sit with the opposition in the chamber as Senate challenges former INEC chairman Professor Tahiru Jega to name alleged bribe takers in the National Assembly. And President Emerson Mnangagwa vows free and fair polls as Zimbabwe fixes July the 30th for presidential and parliamentary elections.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's crude grade struggle for buyers at the international spot market as repairs continue at the Trans-Ramos pipeline.
On sports news, Super Eagles head coach Gernot Rohr drops 4 players from his World Cup bound squad after cutting down the 30-man list to 25.
Hello, and from Abuja, police in Enugu arrest 21 members of the outlawed pro-Biafra group IPOB as Enugu and Anambra states record partial observance of sit-at-home order.
We begin tonight with the sentencing of the former governor of Taraba State, Gov Nyame, by a federal high court in Abuja to 14 years in prison without an option of fine. Mr. Nyame is found to be guilty of a criminal breach of trust and misappropriation of 1.64 billion naira belonging to the Taraba State government. Justice Olubukola Banjoko convicted the former governor of 27 out of the 41 charges against him.
It is a case of reversal of fortune for a former governor of Taraba State, Reverend Gov Nyame, whose trial began on May 13, 2007, as an Abuja High Court sentenced him to 14 years imprisonment for criminal breach of trust. The prosecution, in the charge dated May 13, 2007, accused the governor of perpetrating fraud between January 2005 and May 2007 through the awarding of frivolous contracts. Delivering the judgment, which lasted over 6 hours, Justice Olubukola Banjoko, in addition to the 14 years jail term for criminal breach of trust, specifically sentenced Reverend Nyame to 2 years imprisonment for misappropriation of public funds, 7 years for receiving gratification, and 5 years for obtaining valuable things without consideration. All the sentences are to run concurrently. Although the defense lawyer turned down a request for an interview, the prosecutor applauds the judgment of the court.
The judgment has demonstrated show of courage and it has sent a very clear signal to the society that corruption does not pay in any way. The judgment, as I told His Lordship, shows the long suffering of His Lordship to have withstood the pressure for more than 11 years. And at the end of the day, at least out of the 41 counts, 27 counts have been shown to have been proven beyond reasonable doubt.
The judgment is coming 11 years after Reverend Gov Nyame held sway as governor of Taraba State between May 1999 and May 2007. He was arrested after his tenure expired. After the judgment, the former governor was driven out of the court premises by security agents as he continues his journey to prison.
Get your shots. Staying with legal matters, the former governor of Kaduna State, Ramalan Yaro, has been detained by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. Yaro, alongside a former PDP chairman in Kaduna State, Haruna Gaya, a former Minister of State for Power, Nuhuwa, and former Secretary to the Kaduna State government, Hamza Ishaq, have been detained at the EFCC office in Kaduna, the state capital. Yaro and others have been under investigation by the EFCC since 2016 for the role they played in the disbursement of 750 million naira PDP campaign funds before the 2015 general elections. The Kaduna zonal spokesperson of the EFCC, Kamaruddin Gebi, told Channels Television that the 4 accused persons will be arraigned at the Federal High Court on Thursday on charges bordering on money laundering, criminal conspiracy and misappropriation of public funds, among others. In the meantime, another former Abia State Governor, Orji Uzor Kalu, has filed a no-case submission in his trial at the Federal High Court in Lagos for an alleged 3.2 billion naira fraud and money laundering. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, had in October 2016 filed a 34-count charge against the former governor and the former commissioner of finance in the state. The defendant had pleaded not guilty to the charges and were given granted bail. At the resumed trial of the case today, the prosecuting counsel informed the court that the commission had been served with the no-case submissions filed by each of the defendants and also filed an amended charges against the defendant. But the defendant's team said that they were yet to be served with the EFCC amended charges. The defense team also refused to accept service of the amended charge in court on the grounds that it ought to be served personally to the defendant and not on his counsel. Moving from the court to the National Assembly, the embattled senator representing Kogi West in the National Assembly, Dino Melaye, has resumed plenary after 2 weeks in police detention. He however asked the permission of the Senate President to allow him sit at the opposition side of the chamber. Senator Melaye specifically requested to sit next to the former Senate President, David Mark, who is in the opposition party, the PDP, to enable him recover fully from the trauma he allegedly suffered while in police custody. Our correspondent Linda Igibe reports.
It is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent.
Embattled Senator Dino Melaye makes his first appearance in the Senate chamber after a running battle with the police. He has pending court cases on allegations of criminal conspiracy, aiding of jailbreak and unlawful possession of firearms.
On point of order 43, personal explanation.
After being welcomed by his colleagues, Senator Melaye addresses the Senate.
Mr. President, the Nigerian police attempted to kill me twice. One through the application of a chemical substance, and the second time through injection. I have a special request to you, Mr. President, that because of the trauma I went through, and I'm still going through, Mr. President, I want to seek your indulgence that you will call on the side that I am to look for a comfortable seat for me on this side of the divide, because I am no longer comfortable sitting here.
His request for a change of seat is opposed by members of his party. However, the arms of opposition lawmakers are wide open, ready to receive him.
We are beginning to institutionalize chaos if we use any excuse whatsoever to transfer members across the aisle.
Sir, at any point in time that any senator on the left feels that he or her seat is uncomfortable, the person is welcome here.
The Senate President rules on the matter.
I don't think at any time at all in either Senator Dino's contribution or anybody's contribution that the issue of change of allegiance or party ever came across. We accommodate his request and ensure that we will continue to do our best through the chief and the management to make that seat comfortable so you can come back to your seat.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues...
Meanwhile, the Senate is frowning at comments made by the former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atahiru Jega, accusing lawmakers of soliciting for bribes in their various committees from officials of government agencies.
So I think what Professor Jega, somebody who is respected, should come out and name these kind of members that he's aware of. But if he doesn't, if he can't come out and name them, then he should not make such branding statement.
The Senate President promised that the upper chamber under his watch will not cover up for any erring lawmaker.
Thank you, Mr.
Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Mr. Kayode Fayemi, has formally announced his resignation from President Buhari's cabinet to pursue his governorship ambition in Ekiti State. According to him, he's resigning his appointment to enable him focus on his ambition of becoming the next governor of Ekiti State. Fayemi had earlier said that he was returning to Ekiti State because he had unfinished business with the state. He is the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, the APC. He was governor between 2010 to 2014 after losing to the incumbent governor, Ayodele Fayoshi.
My sincere thanks. As you may recall, I assumed duty as Minister of Mines and Steel Development on November 11, 2015, following my appointment by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. The period of my stewardship in the ministry has been strategic as it coincided with this administration's determination to reposition the minerals and metals sector to serve as a frontier of economic diversification, the creation of jobs, and the broadening of the range of economic opportunities available to Nigerians. It is with mixed feelings that I address you today on the occasion of the valedictory ministerial briefing, marking the conclusion of my tour of duty as Minister of Mines and Steel Development in the Buhari administration. It has indeed been a pleasure serving in this capacity, our country and Mr. President. My sincere thanks and appreciation goes to His Excellency Mr. President and His Excellency the Vice President for the visionary leadership and prioritization of the sector.
And staying with political matters now, governors of the South-South states have met in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, today. The governors of Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom and Delta states arrived at the State Government House this evening and were received by Governor Nyesom Wike, who led them into a closed-door meeting, while the governor of Edo State was represented by his deputy. The governor of Bayelsa State, Direk Dixon, who spoke on behalf of others after the meeting, re-echoed the governor's call for devolution of powers from the center to the states. According to him, the governors also reacted to the withdrawal of the $1 billion from the excess crude account for security reasons.
We took the collective view and decision that with respect to the federal government's efforts to withdraw $1 billion for national security expenditures, our position in this zone is that in line with the constitutional provisions on derivation, while we have no objections to the federal government spending money on national security, including security of this zone, we believe that the constitutional provisions on 13% derivation should be applied and fully respected.
President Muhammadu Buhari has played host to the Sierra Leonean President, Julius Biel, in Abuja today. The Sierra Leonean President's visit is part of efforts to renew the bond of friendship between the two countries. Among a wide range of issues discussed include preventive measures to tame the outbreak of Ebola in DR Congo. On the issue of Sierra Leone's economy, President Biel says that his administration inherited a bad economy, but he's determined to go ahead with his plans to make education free in his country.
Came today to express our country's gratitude to the Federal Republic of Nigeria for standing by us, fighting with us during our time of need when we had the civil war. This is my first time in Nigeria after having been elected. I also wanted to pay this courtesy call to renew our bond of friendship and to see how we can deepen this relationship. We have certainly discussed a whole range of issues, and of course the health situation, security, trade, the movement of our people have been at the center of our discussion. Definitely, we are concerned about what is happening in the DRC, and we are taking preventive measures, and that was discussed in our interaction.